right. As much as I could listen to music the entire time, we've got some important business to get down to. So let's go ahead and start our webinar today on preparing for the MySQL 8.0. My name is Lexi, and I'm just going to be the tech support on this webinar. And I am here to introduce our lovely panel of guests. I want to just go over a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, please continue the conversation in the Zoom chat that is there for you to comment and just kind of talk with any other webinar attendees. If you're interested in the recording, we will be recording this entire session and share that with you via email after the event. And we will also be posting it to the resources page, which I'll drop into the chat shortly. If you have any questions, we are saving time at the end of the webinar for question and answer. Feel free to use the question and answer feature in Zoom so that we can track all of those questions and route them to the correct person. So you've got the chat and the question and answer. Now, enough of me. A quick agenda. We're going to go through introductions and overview of the upgrades that are happening. And then Austin here is going to take us through using local to test compatibility. Carmen will bring it home with next steps. And then we've got plenty of time for that question and answer. So with that, I would love to introduce Carmen. And Carmen, if you want to just give a brief overview of yourself, let the other panelists, and then you can take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lexi. Hello, everyone. My name is Carmen Johnson, and I am one of the product managers at WP Engine working on our platform. And I'll hand it over to Austin.
Yes, hello, everybody. My name is Austin Wendt. I am a product manager at WP Engine on our local product. I'm so excited today. If you're familiar with local, great. If not, we'll cover what it is and how to best use it. And kind of walk you through some steps to feel better about the MySQL 8 upgrade. But Lindsay, I'll hand it off to you.
Thanks, Austin. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. My name is Lindsay Haas. I am calling in from Omaha, Nebraska. Loving seeing where everyone else is calling in from. So thank you for sharing. I look after the product marketing team here at WP Engine, and we are so excited to be with you all today. So thank you for joining us. I'll hand it back over to you, Lexi.
I think we're ready for Carmen.
Awesome, we are. I can go ahead and go to the next slides. Before we get to the really juicy bits and Austin's walkthrough of how exactly to go through testing in local, just want to kind of set the stage here and give you all some more context behind the what and the why for this round of upgrades right now. Basically, current state of affairs is all WP Engine sites are currently running MySQL version 5.7. And this version will be reaching its end of life for official support on October 31st of this year. So by this time, we need to ensure that we have had all of our customer sites upgraded to the long-term support version, the most secure version, which right now is MySQL 8. So for any of you who have been closely watching the new MySQL version releases, you're probably aware that they did just release MySQL version 8.1, but we're not making the choice to upgrade to that version just yet, since it's still kind of in its innovation phase. So for now, MySQL 8 is the official long-term support version that'll be available and that we'll be upgrading sites onto. Long-term support basically just means that it's the most stable version of MySQL that's out right now, and all known bugs have been addressed. So since our goal is definitely to ensure security and stability for all the customers on our platform, we want to make sure that you guys have a good time there on MySQL 8. We can go to the next slide, Lexi. So giving y'all a bit more context into, okay, we know these upgrades are coming. Most of you, actually all of you, should have gotten at least a couple of emails from us by now, letting you know that this is coming, letting you know we're going to give you some more information, sending you resources on how to go about testing and partnering with us to ensure that your sites are going to perform well on MySQL 8. But what specifically are some things that you'll want to do on your end to be best prepared for these upgrades? So we do have a few recommendations just to help best set you up for success. So first thing out of the gate, and this is probably something that you're familiar with WordPress version upgrades and PHP version upgrades, but you're going to want to make sure that you've got your plugins and themes fully up to date before your upgrade window hits. And it's likely that you already have something like this in your testing process, but this is definitely a key area that you're going to want to look at here, just to ensure that, if there are any potential issues or incompatibilities with plugin versions, at least ensuring that you're on the latest version there is one really good way to help mitigate against that. Additionally, while we are going to be doing some testing on our end, just to help ensure that you're compatible and ready to go, you are going to want to test that key site functionality against MySQL 8. So for our part, we'll be testing high-level areas like homepage and WP admin, just to make sure that those things can get up and running on MySQL 8. But deeper site pages, specific functionality that's key to your business. Think of things like your checkout process if you're an e-com customer, or if there's specific site content, maybe you're running a really important marketing campaign. You're going to want to make sure that you're testing these really key functionality areas for compatibility against MySQL 8. Additionally, be on the lookout for emails from us. I'm sure you're getting emails from vendors across a lot of different areas, but specifically, we will communicate with you when your upgrade window will be, your specific upgrade window, aiming to give at least 2 weeks advance notice before that. So just give you enough heads up to know what time to plan around. So be on the lookout for those emails, specifically if they're related to MySQL 8 upgrades. And then just one last call out that these upgrades are going to happen during your normal maintenance windows. And we expect that the time needed to actually complete the upgrade will fall within that typical nightly upgrade window. So we'll let you know exactly what cohort you're going to be in, what day you'll need to be looking forward to. And then once that upgrade has happened, we'll be communicating with you so that you can kind of take some time to verify that your site is functioning as expected. So as I said here on the right, we're handling the actual upgrade for you. There's nothing that you need to do on your end to actually ensure your sites get updated, the actual upgrade happens. WP Engine is taking care of that on your behalf. And we've got processes in place to ensure that you're up and running after the upgrade's complete. If there are any issues, we'll be communicating directly with you on what steps you need to take to get you into a good state. So key takeaways here are do some testing ahead of time. Austin, I'm going to kick it over to him here in a second to walk through exactly how you can do this through local. But we're in this with you. So definitely reach out to us, our support teams, if you're needing more assistance. We're definitely here to help ensure that you're as successful as possible with this upgrade cycle. So with that, I am going to pause here and I'll hand it off to Austin to give y'all a little walkthrough of the local process.
Yeah, thanks, Carmen. Yeah, excited to talk to you all today. For those who are familiar with local, great. Those who aren't, don't worry. Saw a lot of questions in the chat. Maybe you're using an alternative to a local product like a MAMP, or maybe you don't have a local environment at all. We'll kind of do our best to get you kind of set up for success today. So if you're not familiar with local, maybe let's start there. What is it? Local is a WordPress development tool that's been around for about 8 years, known and loved in the WordPress community. The goal of local just makes it really easy to spin up and test sites on your own machine without needing a host wherever you host to have that environment ready for you. So kind of a safer environment to test in. It's 100% free. If you have all of your sites on WP Engine, you can use local. If you have none of your sites on WP Engine, you can still use local as a way to kind of test MySQL 8 compatibility with your sites, which is cool. So you can download it at localwp.com. I'll have somebody throw that link in the chat, but free to download, free to use. It's part of kind of a larger suite of developer tools that we offer at WP Engine free of charge. So would recommend checking it out if you haven't. And local WP is going to be a great way for you to test compatibility with MySQL 8 moving forward. So if you have sites, great. If not, kind of on the next slide, what you're going to see when you first download local is going to kind of be this blank screen. You're not going to have any sites. It's going to kind of look at this blank canvas for you to kind of utilize and take advantage of. When you're ready to create a site or to connect to WP Engine and start testing, on this left-hand sidebar, you can see the icons that are there, and there's this cloud icon. And so we'll kind of walk through a video walkthrough, so to speak, of what that's going to look like. So if I click on that cloud icon, this is our connect experience, and connect is how I allow WP Engine and local to kind of talk to each other. So I'll click connect to platform, and there's this login to WP Engine button. And then what you're going to want to do is ask for a username and password. And there's this get my credentials button. I'll resize the screen here so we can see both at the same time, but connect to WP Engine, I log in, and that's going to open the portal for me to the place where I need to be. And I'm going to generate some API credentials. So there's some pretty basic copy pasting back and forth, copy paste my API username and password, and I hit connect. And that's pretty much all local needs to talk to WP Engine. So this will generate some SSH keys so that I can see a list of all the sites that I have access to on WP Engine, not just a one site, any site in my account I'll see populate here. And then I can really easily search that list for where I'm going next. So you saw there, I had a site called Austin Test that I'm just using for the purpose of demoing today. If you click into that next video, then if we want to actually, now that I've got WP Engine connected, I can pull that site down to local. So I'll click pull to local. It's a pretty simple, straightforward process. So local is going to handle all the heavy lifting here. Just ask what I want to call my site, can name it whatever. I just called mine MySQL 8 testing. It's going to ask which WP Engine environment I want to pull, and I chose production, along with some advanced setup options that I just kind of ignored there. But really, that's all you need is a name and which environment on WP Engine you're pulling, and local is going to take care of setting that up on your machine for you. This process is going to take about a couple minutes. You can see that MySQL 8 testing got created over on the left-hand side of my screen there, and I made a group in my site list called MySQL 8 testing. So it just allows me to keep things straight. Here, local asked me for a password just for some administrator rights to kind of set everything up on my behalf. So local is fully contained. You don't need to go download anything else. Local takes care of it for you. So like local is going to set up a PHP server on your machine. It's going to set up an instance of MySQL 8, a server of MySQL 8 running on your machine so that you can test the site. Same with Nginx. Like I said, no additional software needed. Local kind of takes care of all of that for you in the background, which is great. So it's pulled all of the files to my machine now. Now it's going to download and import that database and take care of setting that up for me so that it's going to be as close as possible to an exact replica of my site on WP Engine, and import that. And then the last step is where it says changing site domain here is doing a search and replace. So taking all of those URLs and links on your site that had real live links and converting them to that local equivalent so that the site functions appropriately on your machine. And with that, the site is live on my machine and it's ready for me to use and to test and to just experiment with. If MySQL 8 compatibility is one thing, but also just recommend this if you're making changes on your site in the future. So I'll click this open site button here. And again, need to kind of resize windows so that I can see both of these here at the same time. But you'll see this just opens a browser for me. So this is a basic site that I had spun up for the sake of doing some of this MySQL 8 testing. But this is running on my machine now, came from WP Engine, but now it's fully contained on my Mac that I'm using. And local is compatible with all operating systems. So it's Mac, Windows, Linux, you name it, we've got you covered. So that's kind of the process of getting it onto your machine, kind of some tips and tricks, other options. There's another way to pull, and it's this cloud icon in the bottom right-hand corner. And the reason I bring this up is the workflow we walked through before is great. If you've got a very large site, this might be something that you want to take a look at. So I hit that cloud icon and same thing. It's going to ask where I want to pull from and what environment. And then what local does here is it determines a file list. So think of it as like a difference between what's on my computer and what's on WP Engine. And the reason this is so great is, as you can see here, it comes back with all of the files that it's about to pull from WP Engine to my computer. And I can pick and choose what I want to include and what I don't. The reason this is great, I think the way this gets used most often is if you have a large site, 20, 30 gigabytes, what users will come in here and do is you can unselect themes, unselect plugins. Most times they'll unselect the uploads folder. So if you've got a large uploads folder, just remove that just to kind of increase the speed of that connection between local and WP Engine. But also like a lot of times that uploads folder isn't necessary to kind of do any of your testing. So if you know that's something you might run into, if you have a very large site, I'd recommend maybe trying this option and turning or unselecting uploads. so that is not a concern for you. But then same process there. Again, this is now local on my machine. I get the confirmation banner at the top that I'm ready to go. The one other thing I saw, a couple things fly by in the chat in terms of PHP version. So yes, local does make it super easy to change your PHP version. So right now it was set to 8.1. I'm changing it to 8.2. So if you want to test that, pretty much any version, but especially with 8.2, that your site's compatible with the latest and greatest that's out there and available on WP Engine, you can do that. I think the question I saw is, could I set it to 7.4? Absolutely, you can set it back to 7.4. So that's how you change it. You click this details version here, and you can see that in about 10 seconds there, local has changed the PHP version that's running on my site. So another really simple thing to change there, and hopefully, again, really trying to make sure that what is on your machine is as close to what is up on WP Engine as possible. So you kind of set that up as you go. Now that you've got it on the machine, you're kind of ready to put your site through its paces. So we kind of take a look at, go to the next slide for me. What that means when I say put the site through its paces, or how do I know? I always kind of envision it as this open site button in the top right corner, and then I'm going to walk through essentially how I would expect a customer or a user to use my site. Opening the site and clicking around, maybe it's making accounts, just to kind of verify that things that I would expect users to be doing on a regular basis aren't broken now that I've upgraded my database and potentially changed that PHP version. Some things that you'll want to try, there's this Xdebug toggle at the bottom screen here. I would recommend turning that on. If you're not familiar, Xdebug is just a logging and troubleshooting tool that comes with WordPress that allows you to get some detailed logs in terms of if errors are popping up. They'll be captured by Xdebug, so that's good to have on. And then next question, or next slide, excuse me, would be kind of where you go to start to find some of those logs. So kind of part of the tricky part is everybody's site is unique and different, and I'm not exactly, can't tell you 100% confident like if your site or where your site will have issues. But the way to check is local makes it quick and easy to go to the go to site folder at the top in that box. And then here's kind of a picture of what that file structure looks like. So inside my site folder, there's a logs file. I have both Nginx and PHP logs. If I open PHP, there's two different PHP logs that I can check for if my site is running into errors that'll help me troubleshoot. And we've got resources, one that covers this whole process, but two also, common issues that you should be looking into or should experiment with as you're updating to MySQL 8 that we'll share as well. So hopefully this kind of just gives you an idea of how local works, and excited to kind of answer any questions as they pop up here at the end. But I'll hand it back to Carmen or either Carmen or Lindsay with what comes next.
Yeah, Austin, that would be back over to me. Thank you for that walkthrough. So yeah, what comes next? Basically just a recap of what we've already covered. So the upgrade emails are going to be the tool for knowing exactly when your upgrade window will fall. Again, we plan on communicating this out at least 2 weeks before your actual upgrade time. Definitely be sure to test key site functionality via local. If you have any concerns about specific areas, the ability to test those out before the upgrade are definitely going to help assuage a lot of your concerns. And just remember that we are here in this with you. We understand that there are a lot of questions you may have. You may have questions specific to your setup on our platform. Please reach out to our support team for assistance with any compatibility or testing questions you might have. We've even created a specific reference code for this, MySQL 8, all one word, that you could use to ensure that you're getting to folks with the right level of expertise. But we're here with you in this. Any questions you have, if you have an account manager, a technical account manager that you work with specifically on the technical side of your account with us, they're here and they're willing to assist you with any questions you have and to help this be as successful as it can be. So with that, I am going to hand it off to Lindsay so that we can get to the question and answer portion of the webinar.
Amazing. Carmen, thank you so much. Austin, thank you so much. That was really helpful. So you guys, we have a ton of questions in the chat, and I just want to say thank you. That is great. And thank you everyone for jumping in to help answer some of them as well. We're going to get through as many of these as possible. We have quite a bit of time, so let's hope we can do it. So I'm just going to kick us right off, Carmen, Austin, and team. So I'm going to go through these. When you say testing a staging for development environment, do you mean at WP Engine or externally? And will you be adding the ability to upgrade staging dev for testing?
I can speak to local, at least on the local side of things. Local can be thought of as that dev environment. So when we're talking stage and dev, WP Engine obviously has their own staging and dev environments. This is, you can call it a fourth option, if you will, as a way to kind of test this on your machine. And I'll defer to somebody else on the call as far as platform, WP Engine, staging, and dev.
Who on the call can help with that one?
First, Eric, Carmen.
You guys got that one?
I'm sorry, I too missed the question. Multitasking. Could you repeat that for me, Lindsay?
Oh, yes. So Carmen, they were just asking if when we're saying testing a staging for development environment, do you mean at WP Engine or externally? And will you be adding the ability to upgrade staging for testing?
Because the way our platform is set up, MySQL version is managed at the server level. The ability to enable testing for only specific sites isn't something we're able to enable at this. So for this reason, we're recommending testing specific site functionality via local before the upgrade as the preferred method.
Okay, great. Thank you, Carmen and Austin. WP Engine does not currently offer the option to upgrade and test MySQL versions. Can you provide guidance and advice on that matter?
Yeah, so the recommended workflow would be using local, so downloading local WP, local from localwp.com, connecting to WP Engine, and then pulling and testing that site on your machine. This is going to be the best way to get as close to replicated environment on your machine as what is up on WP Engine. Just in the sense that, owned by the same company, we try to make sure local matches WP Engine as platform as close as we possibly can. So that's going to be your best, apples to apples comparison. It's kind of our recommended workflow.
Fabulous. Thank you, Austin. Okay, the next one, we're cruising through these, y'all. When you copy to local, where do you set it to 8.0 version?
So local handles that for you. So if you're in that pull workflow that I kind of screen shared through there, local defaults to to MySQL 8.0. As you're creating sites in local, like if you were to create a site without connecting WP Engine, you can choose between MySQL 5.7 or MySQL 8.0. So if that's how you're doing it, I would say select MySQL 8.0. But when you're pulling from WP Engine, local takes care of selecting that for you.
Austin, thank you. Next one, does WP Engine have developers or consultants that we can work with to ensure a smooth transition?
For sure, I'll take that one. So again, just reiterating that we're handling the actual upgrade on your behalf. In addition to any testing, all the testing we're recommending you do on your side via local, we're also running our own internal compatibility testing. So key things like making sure your database comes up on MySQL 8. Does your WP admin page come up? Does your homepage come up? Key things like that we'll be checking before we actually upgrade you. If there are any issues, we'll be sure to communicate that to you and give you ample time before the end of life date to address those. And again, we can work with you and help get those things addressed. But if you do find that in the testing process or or just wanting more assurance, you would like to work with an agency or a developer for some additional assistance, we do have our agency partner program of really, really great partner agencies and developers that we'd be more than happy to connect you with to get that additional assistance. And I think we can post a link to that page in the chat in case anyone would like to use that as a resource.
Carmen, thank you so much. Moving along here, do we need to set up our own local environment to test?
Sorry, Lindsay, can you repeat that one?
Yeah,
I was
do we
answering a
need
question in
to-
chat.
You're good. Do we need to set up our own local environment to test?
That's the recommended workflow for sure. And like I said, as far as locals, the reason we recommend is because it's a single piece of software. We try to do our best to make it as least technical as possible. There's not other tools you need to go install or servers to set up on your machine. Local takes care of all of that in the background, and it's pretty user-friendly.
Very user-friendly, Austin, thank you. Are there any issues you've seen with the update? Who would like to take that one?
I can take that one. And in our testing that we've done, again, extensive testing has gone into this on our end to ensure that we're ready for these upgrades. The majority of errors that we have seen have been due to outdated plugins that are on prior versions of MySQL, so 5.7 or later. So that's kind of where the emphasis on starting out with plugins and themes in your first testing to ensure compatibility. If you've already noted any issues, getting with those plugin developers or surfacing that to us so we could follow up. But as far as that, plugins are really the main area we've seen. We haven't really noticed many breaking changes with this newer version.
Thank you, Carmen. Appreciate it. Is there flexibility on the upgrade windows? We have some things coming up and we'll be offsite and may need to adjust our dates.
So great news is there can be some flexibility with the upgrade windows. We have a way for if you have specific events that you would prefer to be able to choose your window again within the time frame, knowing that October 31st is our hard cutoff. You could definitely write into our support team or work with your account manager if that applies to you, just to nail down what date you'd like, and then we have a way of tracking that and ensuring we get into that desired upgrade cohort.
Thank you. Is there a limitation to total size of site to be able to import or connect to local? Austin?
No max size. Like I said, local should handle that process for you. And I think the only thing I'd recommend is if you know you have a very large site, would recommend kind of that workflow to probably unselect your uploads folder. If for some reason you have a large site and you're struggling, there's other options we have. Like we just reached out to WP Engine support, and we can also just manually take a backup from the site and drag and drop into local as kind of like a last resort. But that's more of a manual workflow, and there's those automated tools should be pretty straightforward for you to use.
Thank you, Austin. Are there any issues or foreseeable issues with running local side by side with another container solution, i.e. we use Docker for our local environments dev?
There could be potential port conflicts just depending on the other tooling that you're using. That's not me saying go uninstall those things. It's just saying at the time that you're running that test in local, users typically have better results if they only run one of those things at the same time. So if you've got your Docker instance running, don't be running local at the same time or they'll compete for resources. If you're running local, don't be running the Docker stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. Just run one at a time.
Awesome. And then what would be downtime during the upgrade?
I can take that one. I guess a blanket statement here would be the specific amount of downtime for your site, for your server, obviously depends on the size of the databases that are being converted. But based on the testing we've run, finishing within the 6-hour maintenance window that you'd fall into, most of all of our test upgrades have finished within that 6-hour window. So that should be the upper bounds, but most for smaller databases should be much quicker than that.
Thanks, Carmen. All right, we have another one here on local. Do I have to log into my client's account directly, or can I access their account and use local if I am a user?
If you are a user on the account or you have access to that site, it will pull up in local. So those credentials that you log in with will allow you to access in local anything you have access to in WP Engine. So as long as you have access on the WP Engine portal, you should be set. And if not, it's pretty straightforward. The client will just have to invite you to the site. And then that site will start appearing in local once you've been invited.
Thank you, Austin. And then, well, we have, the next one here is, can someone recap how MySQL 8.0 relates to local?
Yeah, so I guess more broadly, so MySQL 8 is the database technology that backs WordPress and is what we're using on the WP Engine servers. Local is just a place for you to test that compatibility with the newer version of MySQL 8. So when local creates a site for you, just like you would if you had a site on a host somewhere, like you need PHP running, you need a database running, and you need a web server running. And that database that local installs for you is MySQL 8 and kind of takes care of that for you.
Thank you, Austin. And then my site won't run under local. What options do I have?
That's one of the ones I was responding. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was going to hop in here because we actually had a lot of these questions coming in. So we understand that some sites will have issues testing on local. In place of that, we're currently working on a solution for enabling testing on WP Engine production servers. We kind of have to finish up some final tooling that would enable that. But if this is something that you're going to need access to, we'll need to get follow up with you offline and get your information so we can ensure we get your get you signed up for this. Timeline at some point within the next 2 weeks. Upgrades are starting at the beginning of September, so we're kind of using the time between now and then to put on finishing touches of that tooling. But for now, you can reach out to our support team, or we could take your information after here and follow up with you.
Thank you, Carmen. Will local give us an error log if I am handling the upgrade?
Yes, so between the xdebug logging, which will capture any errors that are happening on the site as you're navigating around, or like I said, my recommendation would be test the site in the same way you would expect a user or a customer to be using the site. That's going to help you uncover what users might see if there does happen to be issues. But local will have those xdebug logs, and there's also if there's database issues, we see those captured in the PHP logs often as well. And so we've got resources that we can share or will share that I covered today in that video of like where to actually see logs from within local.
Thanks, Austin. My current MySQL version is 8.0.34. Should any 8.x versions work fine? And which versions will WP Engine install on the servers?
Yeah, I can take that one. So we will ship the latest version available at time of your upgrade, and we'll continue to release patches as they become available, just like we do with MySQL 5.7. And it's important to note that the patch version for a software suite like MySQL Server generally does not introduce behavioral changes, so that should not affect you.
Justin, thank you. How do PHP upgrades affect this upgrade?
I can grab that one. So PHP upgrades will be happening separately from MySQL upgrades. They'll actually follow the MySQL upgrade cycle. The good news is here, I believe someone also asked this question about how specific site versions are impacted. So I'll go ahead and grab both of those questions. So for customers who are on PHP 8, We will be performing the upgrade to PHP 8.2. That'll happen in the back end of October. The reason we're only targeting PHP 8 customers and not PHP 7.4, which is the other version we currently support, is because PHP 7.4 has still not reached compatibility, WordPress compatibility beyond beta support. And given that we have a very large percentage of our platform, of our customers still leveraging 7.4 and unable to move to a newer version, we've made the call to just continue to extend security support for that version. However, since 8.0 to 8.2 is a very minor version upgrade, and our testing has shown that over the vast majority of those sites will be perfectly happy on 8.2. In order to get those customers to the latest and greatest version, we're going to go ahead and proceed with getting 8.0 end of life on the platform. And for customers on 7.4, we'll be following up at a later date with when we plan to move forward with that upgrade. So PHP upgrades will not conflict with MySQL upgrades. PHP upgrades historically have been a lot less intensive. Again, it's something WP Engine handles on your behalf unless you choose to self-upgrade, and those will follow after the MySQL upgrade cycle.
Thank you, Carmen. Are there any features, themes, or features that may cause a problem? I manage several sites.
Nothing specific. I think Carmen hit on this earlier, like nothing specific that we know of. Like Carmen mentioned, the outdated plugins and themes is probably the biggest thing to check, make sure those are up to date. But otherwise, like nothing glaring that we can point to and say, yes, if you're doing this, that's going to break. It's kind of a case-by-case basis, which I don't know, it's almost good news. Like there's nothing that we can see that absolutely is a must-go fix. So it's more like test it out on the site and see what happens, kind of a thing.
Austin, thank you. Can I test in staging before pushing to production? How can we test in staging if your hosting is your only environment?
So I'm happy to grab this one as just a callback to my earlier comment around if you need to be able to test against your WP Engine staging environment on a production server. We're currently exploring options to enable this. As we said, we expect to have this nailed down within the next 2 weeks before upgrades start. So at this point, we just recommend that you reach out to our support team. Definitely reference that reference code MySQL 8 that we provided in the slide earlier, so that we could get you set up appropriately.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Okay, let's see here. How can I get help addressing specific local error codes when testing? How about specific MySQL errors?
This is more for the platform team, I suppose. Is there a doc or a resource that we'll share with the like breaking changes from MySQL 7 or MySQL 5.7 to 8 or things to be looking for?
Hey, Austin. So we do have an article in our support center on MySQL. There are some specific, but it's not going to cover everything. Obviously, we do have a support team who can be contacted for specific things. They may not have expertise in your specific error though, but we'll do our best to work together. But we do have that support center article, and I'll make sure that I get that linked in chat.
Thank you so much. Okay. How can I contact support on this? Just reiterating, I think that this was asked a couple times here.
As far as getting in touch with WP Engine support, would log into the WP Engine portal, so my.wpengine.com, and support's going to be pretty easy to access down that bottom right-hand corner. Chat bubble will pop up. You can reach out via chat, or there's other messaging options for you to get in touch with support.
Thank you.
Just be sure to use that support code MySQL 8.
Carissa, thank you so much. Okay, we are getting close on time here. I just want to call that out. There are a ton of specific questions. So we have some to follow up on. So I think we have a couple minutes here to get through a couple more. How do we test? Let's see, how do we test key site functionality using MySQL 8.0? All I do is log into my WordPress and never touch the back end.
As far as like I said, testing key site functionality, would recommend putting on your user or customer hat. If you're using that local workflow we talked about, opening the site, clicking through it, making sure that pages are loading and data is loading, and it's behaving as you would expect, as it does today on the previous version of MySQL 5.7.
Hey, I think we got through majority of the questions. Lexi, I'll have you hop back on if you don't mind. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No, thank you for everyone that submitted questions. There are lots of you here, and there are some very specific questions that you can work with, again, support or your account manager on. We will be doing some additional follow-up following this webinar for those of you that ask questions, but please do not hesitate to reach out to us. This was meant to be an overview. There is lots more to come, but hopefully you found this beneficial, and we are here to support you moving forward. Thank you for joining. As a reminder, we will be sending out the recording likely tomorrow. It will be going on our YouTube and on our resources page. And thank you for your support as WP Engine customers. Thank you to this wonderful panel that gave us an overview. Carmen, Lindsay, Austin, that was amazing. And I hope everyone has a great weekend ahead.
Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, team. Thanks everyone for joining us.